My guest at this time will battle Deonna Purrazzo on Global Syndicate Wrestling's debut show, February 20th. It's Shaul Guerrero. Shaul, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
No problem, Shaul. So yeah, let's get into it. I mean, this is a brand new company, GSW. How did you get involved? How did this match with Deonna come together?
Honestly, like Brandon hit me up, one of the owners of GSW, and I wasn't even aware I was going to be facing Deonna until they posted on their Instagram, and I was like, holy crap! I freaked out. I was like really excited, really intimidated, but also like I can't wait to learn from Deonna, and just get in the ring with her. I feel very honored.
Oh, wow! Learn from. I feel like you maybe have the edge on her there. You know, as far as veteran status goes. So,
you know what? Like in a lot of ways, I feel like a veteran mentally, maybe like in a certain way, because I've been in the business since before I could walk. Like I'm just very used to wrestling. I'm used to the back. But Deonna's been consistent as far as like in ring competition,
sure,
and whatnot. And we've trained at the same place. Like Deonna trained with NXT and the WWE Performance Center. So I'm very interested in seeing how our dynamic will be in the ring.
So this is a first time matchup then between the two of you. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I've only met Deonna one time and whatnot. So the next time we're going to meet, it will be more than a brief encounter, hopefully. And I can't wait to see, what magic we make in the ring.
Yeah, you know, and she really wasn't with WWE long, and I want to get to your developmental stuff here too, but are you surprised? I mean, Impact Wrestling's obviously picked up the ball and run with her, but are you surprised it didn't work out for her in NXT and WWE in the long run?
You know what? Of course I am, but I feel like that about a lot of talent that gets let go. I feel like more often than not, WWE like really kind of blows through talent a lot. And I understand they have a very specific thing that they're looking for. And I can attest, I was not what they were looking for as well. So I'm like, we're part of the cool kids club, and we're, but I thought Deonna did a great job. I think she's doing a wonderful job at Impact. And she's the virtuoso. She's amazing. She's such a technically proficient wrestler. And that's what I mean when I say, like, I can't wait to work with her. We have very different styles, her and I, and strengths in the ring. So I'm excited to see how we can make each other better.
Yeah, and before I kind of dig into your background here a little bit and how it compares to, Deonna's background as well, just even accepting, to be a part of GSW's first debut show here, obviously we're in this pandemic, what weighs on your decision-making when deciding like which promotions to even go work for right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, with the pandemic right now, I feel, first of all, incredibly fortunate that I even have a booking. Like it's difficult for everyone to get bookings. And thankfully there's so many women wrestlers, and there's so many wrestlers in general now. And there's so many companies to be able to choose from. So I just felt very honored that GSW feels confident in me to be on the debut show and whatnot. And I'm really looking forward to it. So long as right now my show requirements are, is everyone going to be safe? Is the talent going to be safe? Are the fans going to be safe? And so long as those things are understood and I feel confident with who I am in the ring with, then bring it. Let's tear the house down. Absolutely.
Well, rock and roll. So yeah, you mentioned you spent some time like Deonna did down in WWE developmental. Now you were there before it was NXT though, right? You were down in FCW, correct?
I was part of the OG FCW crew.
Well, I know this, and it's weird that this came up, and I can get to some other stuff that I have written down here. But I just had Connor, Big Con from the Ascension, on.
I love Connor.
I talked to Connor like literally less than a week ago, maybe 5 days ago, and small world, Shaul.
So small.
You came up in the conversation, which was weird when I found out like that you were the time you worked out. We're just like, yeah, you can have Shaul. I was like, cool. I literally just talked to Connor about her. So you were like an OG member of the Ascension as well. Am I right about this?
Listen, once a member of the Ascension, always a member of the Ascension. I was actually supposed to see Connor this week, actually. Like we were supposed to do a show in El Paso, Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we unfortunately it had to get postponed because of COVID reasons, so safety first. But when I saw him on the poster, no one tells me anything. I don't know anything until stuff drops on Instagram. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is what's happening. But when I saw Connor on it and Rick Vic, I was like, oh my God, we're gonna have an Ascension reunion. I don't know what's gonna happen. I have to do a run-in or something and like pick up my manager, skip my manager hat once again. But yeah, I love Connor. He helped me learn a lot when we were at FCW.
He told me a crazy story about how Dusty Rhodes wanted you all to be vampires, like, and then kicked Ricardo Rodriguez like out of the group. Like, what was that like for you taking on this? Like, Dusty Rhodes wants you to be a vampire now. Like, that's your future, the world of pro wrestling. What was that like for you?
Well, I was first of all like super honored that Dusty wanted me to be a part of this group. Okay. First of all, because obviously Connor's extremely talented. We had Epico at the time. And we have, I believe he goes by Brahm now. But we had like just so many amazing people a part of this team. I know I'm not thinking of everything at the moment right now, but no, vampire is one of the roles I've always wanted to do as an actress. And so combining that with wrestling was really, really cool. And I loved it, honestly. Like, I had so much fun working with Dusty. This was like a special project of Dusty's. And I always loved it though, because he's like, now don't say that you're vampires. Like, just leave it to the imagination. And but we got to film really closely with Dusty for all the promos, and we had the best time. We had so much fun.
And he's the I never got to meet Dusty, but as influential as smart as everybody always says that Dusty is when you got to work with him.
Absolutely. I don't even think that words can properly describe what Dusty was to so many of us. And I've said this in interviews before, like Dusty is one of, I've had a handful of people that were really looking out for me and really believed in what I was doing at FCW and NXT. And Dusty was one of them and pushed for me and had a lot of confidence in me. And I will forever thank him. He was always so honest with me. If something sucked, he told me. And he goes back with our family. He was the one that really helped my mom when she got brought up onto, the main roster to kind of start her own legacy. So I will forever be indebted to Dusty and always give him that credit.
They finally rolled out a women's version of the Dusty Tag Classic this year. Yeah, I mean, does that make you itch? Are you like, oh man, is there a chance you want to get in the mix, represent Dusty, something like that?
I mean, of course, I would always love to, pay homage to Dusty in any way I can. And I feel like I try to with any promo I cut. I want to make sure I cut a good promo, because Dusty's always watching in my eyes and whatnot. I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to WWE. I feel like when you're in WWE, you are 100% in that company and nothing else can really happen unless they're okay with it. And I love being a jack of all trades. I kind of like being able to wrestle and still professionally dance and still be able to do like sideshow work that I love to do, like the fire eating.
Wait, you do sideshow work? I did not know that. You're a fire eater?
I am.
Whoa.
I eat Latina Heat actually eats fire.
Wow, you just
That's my favorite meal.
That is Latina. Wow, that just blew my mind. It's like your dad and Ricky the Dragon all just kind of morphed in together there. Yeah.
I'm hoping one day I can fire eat when I go to the ring. I hope that would be like the epic like ring entrance, but we'll see.
You should maybe consider, I don't know, blowing fire, hopping up and down in a lowrider. I mean, there's all kinds of different, cool visuals you could do.
Oh, absolutely. All of the things. There's many ideas out there, and I can't wait to manifest them all.
This poster right here is of the best show I ever produced that only 8 people came to, and we had Titano the Strongman there. I'm a huge Sideshow Attraction person, so you just won a lot of big points with me. That's awesome.
Oh my God. No, I love that you knew what it was too, because I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like I have a hard time, like, telling people, like, what I do, and you knew immediately. You're like, oh my God. And so, like, here in the Chicago community, we have a lot of really amazing.
Wait, are you in Chicago?
I'm in Chicago, boo. Yes.
Chicago.
You're in Chicago. Well, I didn't know that. Where in Chicago are you? Oh God.
Yeah, no, hi, Kat. Yes, right. I have
4 of them. It's gonna happen.
I promise we'll get back off on the rails. I'm over here in Lincoln Park. I'm right between Lincoln and And
Shut up. Sorry, I'm in West Town. We're pretty close. I actually work in Lincoln Park, so like around there, like off and on.
Well, when things get back to normal in 20 years, we will grab a cocktail. My girlfriend, I'm sure, would love to pick your brain. So
absolutely, you got to come out to Full Moon Jam when it comes back up, because I think you would love it.
wait, is that now we're really off the beaten path?
We are. I'm so sorry, guys, but this is cool shit right now.
Full Moon Jam, I believe I've actually been to. Is that the fire throwing and drum circle?
Yep. It's just everyone out there, like super safe, but like, yeah, big circle. Everyone's doing fire. There's a drum circle, people dancing. It's insane.
We may have shared space together already, Shaul, because I have been to 2 of those now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to meet up at the next one, and we're going to have to, I don't know, we got to meet up. Absolutely. Bring your
that's the one where they got the women with the crazy like strings and the fire on the end of the strings. And oh man, that's a lot of fun.
It is. So it's so much fun. I only got to go to one before COVID hit, and of course everything is shut down right now, but definitely fire circles are everything.
Well, you guys got the best breweries out in West Town too.
So. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we do have, I like West Town, but I think that's the beautiful thing about Chicago is every little neighborhood has something.
Yes.
So, absolutely. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. I like that.
Wait. Awesome. Yeah. Chicago is geeking out here. All right. Anyway. Okay. Let me get back to my written notes here so that there's content that we can use for the site to promote GSW. Okay. So with developmental, you were there started in 2010, right? Mm-hmm. Ascension stuff. You did the, you were the Divas champion. You were drawn all over the girls and everything. But like this was a little before the women's revolution had kind of hit. So I'm interested in the 2010 pocket there. Like, what was the attitude towards women's wrestling when you were kind of getting and going in developmental?
It was different than what it is now, for sure. And I know, like, I feel like maybe I was sometimes coddled a little bit, and also I don't know, it was different. I think we were still in the era of bikini contests instead of wrestling matches and dance contests, and it was just, and like I don't think I ever had a match that was longer than 15 minutes. Like that's kind of, with entrances, it was just like, okay, like we were still considered the let me up match a lot of the time. But you know what though, like I'm really happy where wrestling has gone since then and whatnot. And like that, everyone's on the same standard now. Everyone needs to know how to work, everyone. And not that we weren't, like we were training really hard and it was intense. But as far as when the shows came around, like I wish we would have had more, you know what I mean? And been held to a higher standard at that time, besides our looks and whatnot. But I mean, obviously amazing changes have been made and I'm so happy about it. And I'm hella intimidated to be coming into like such an amazing group of women and just women's wrestling in general. So I can't wait to get started. I have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, and so what were the expectations for NXT at that time? Because you were like first wave of like NXT being a real brand. Did you guys and gals have like an impression that it was intended to become like the big thing that it's become, or no?
I mean, honestly, like I think it all kind of got sprung on us rather quickly, if I remember correctly. Like I just knew like, hey, this next week, we're going to be going to a new location for TV. And we were like, oh, okay, don't really know what's happening. And like, it all just moved so incredibly fast. And we had no idea, like this was Triple H's baby. He did such an amazing job, like building into the brand that it is today. Had no idea it was going to turn into like just a huge thing like this. I think until like, maybe much later down the line, and I had already left at that point. But I think when like the PC was up and running, and NXT was such a bigger name rather than just an international name, like I think people were like, oh, okay, this is a big deal. I mean, it was at the time, but I'm sorry, I have animals running around everywhere.
It's totally cool. We're trying to get a dog right now, but as you know, living in Chicago, like we decided to get one during the pandemic, and it's impossible. We're like we're on a list. Like
it's hard.
People. It's rough out.
It really is, and then also in the dead of winter, it's really hard to train and potty train and whatnot. So apologies if you just see cats and dogs running back and forth.
I'm trying to stay focused. We keep swerving right into Chicago stuff, right? I gotta.
Oh no, it's hard.
Well, with Hunter, I'm really interested. Like, so what was it like working with him? Because one thing I definitely noticed on NXT as opposed to AEW is the use of their women. Like for Triple H, and I don't know if this was always the case, he seems to pretty much treat the women and the men the same. I mean, it's 50-50 up and down as far as screen time and quality of matches, I feel like, between the women.
Mm-hmm. I think Triple H has done like really amazing things with both divisions. And I unfortunately didn't really get a lot of time with him. I think we had like one exchange and it was fine, and whatnot. And I think I worked with him one time on my debut for NXT and whatnot. And he was very, of course, super professional, and it's Triple H. You want to do everything you can to make sure he's happy and the whole product and like goes over very well. So, I mean, Triple H was always super professional to work with and whatnot. And so, yeah, I mean, I wish I could have known him a little better.
Yeah, and so like I guess you only spent a little bit of time on NXT TV before you I read different reports about you were dealing with issues of your own, left, came back, didn't get used, left again, kind of thing. Like, talk to me a little about what you were struggling with and why you ultimately think it like didn't work out there for NXT.
Sure. Yeah. No. I've always had an eating disorder ever since I was younger. Yeah. And maybe I wasn't very aware of like how being involved in a company that, I mean, it's the top tier, it's the biggest company in the world. There's a lot of pressure in general for anyone that walks through the door, let alone a woman, let alone a Guerrero. And the first Guerrero that is going to be used for in-ring like abilities, like full time. Right. So it was really intimidating. I clearly wasn't handling the pressure very well. And I was like lashing out using an eating disorder to kind of cope with those feelings. And Joey Mercury, one of my coaches at the time, and Rob McIntyre, the really wonderful weight training coach that we had at the time, noticed I was doing very poorly mentally and physically. And they had me go into rehab, and WWE completely covered my rehab. I was in there for 3 months in patient treatment. And I left initially because I still didn't have a grasp of how I can maintain good health, especially a newfound health. Like, I've had this eating disorder since I was 10. It's going to take longer than 3 months for me to rework like how I think about myself, let alone what people expect from me as an entertainer. So I left for a year to try and get better, felt a lot stronger, came back to WWE and whatnot. And I needed a little break when I was there to, we bump Monday through Friday, and then we have shows Friday and Saturday, and you get one day off. And, that's a lot on the body. And I'm not going to lie, like, I couldn't keep bumping the way I was bumping. And I asked for a little bit of time to heal. They said I was going to be okay. Like, don't worry, you're such a strong Mike personality. I was also learning how to do commentary. I was doing all the things, Mike. But for some reason that next week they let me go. So I don't know. I don't know what their reasonings were, but I'm really happy that I'm where I am now, and it's made me a lot stronger as a person.
Yeah, I was talking about the ring announcing stuff. Like, that's how most people have seen you recently. Like, is that a role you happily jumped into just because you had the skill set from your time at NXT? Like, what led you with so many gigs? It was AEW, WoW, and I think Lucha Underground you also did ring announcing for, right?
Yes. I really loved what I did with Lucha Underground, because I did do a little bit of ring announcing, and then I got to throw the Three Amigos and have some promo work, which was really amazing. It was the best night ever. I mean, I love ring announcing. I will gladly do it any day of the week. It's the best seat in the house. I'm getting to have fun with my friends. It's amazing. Yeah. But there's always that thing, where like, if you're going to be on the sidelines in a way, like, I don't know, maybe it's the Guerrero in me, maybe it's the performer in me. I just know I have more to give. And we'll see how long I can wrestle. I'm hoping like to keep my body really in tip-top shape. I'm doing a lot better now that I don't have to bump every single day. Now I can actually take a day off after I have a really intense match. So that's really wonderful. But honestly, when I went to AEW to announce, and I was watching Dusty Rhodes teach the girls, and they were having class, and I just like, the bug was biting me really bad. And I was like, maybe I should try and wrestle. And the same thing happened at WoW. I would watch the girls like get in the ring and have fun. And it made me like tear up a couple of times, because I was like, man, I wish I could get in there and do that. And I'm 30. I'm just like, like screw it. Let's get out there. Let's see what I can do before I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, your mom's at AEW, and there's a lot of things that are said about AEW's women's division, how there just seems to be like a little spark that's needed there. I mean, is there any consideration about you jumping into the mix there? I feel like your pedigree, you'd bring a lot to their division.
I mean, I would absolutely love to go. That's my big goal, honestly. Like, I'm going to keep working my ass off until they take notice of me, like as an in-ring competitor. But I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to get noticed by them because that's where I want to be.
Well, while I have you, Shaul, and I know I've gone a little over because we killed some time there just kind of geeking out about Chicago, but I would be remiss if I didn't like quickly just kind of touch on the fact that you are the eldest daughter of Vicky and Eddie Guerrero, and your family is just so beloved. I actually am pretty good friends with your cousin Shava. We send beer back and forth time to time.
Oh my God. Awesome. Chavito's the best.
I have his Los Guerreros beer up on my shelf there. So
yeah.
I'm glad we met, and I'm glad you live in Chicago because I've always been a big fan. But like, when did you know that like your family was different? Do you remember when it kind of dawned on you that like what we do, we're different than everybody else? Did it ever resonate with you?
Yeah, like honestly, like I feel like I knew something was up when I was a kid, and like my dad was very, very humble. Like if you knew him any at all, like you knew like dad didn't credit himself at all. And he taught me and my sister the same thing. He said, you don't tell people who we are, like unless they ask, like don't lead with being a Guerrero. Like, and I'm like, I feel like this isn't normal to have this kind of talk when I'm just going to school. So, but I always knew a little bit. And like when, of course, when we would get to go backstage and we would get to watch dad work and stuff like that, I did feel special, and it did feel I'm immensely proud of him. I mean, I always knew like that we were maybe a little, I don't want to say special, but like that my parents' jobs were not the run-of-the-mill jobs that my friends had, where I was getting used on SmackDown. Like that was kind of crazy. And like my sister and I were being used in storylines, and my mom was being used in storylines. Like now I'm used to it, but at the time I was like, oh, mom's doing this too. Okay. Even my grandma got used. And so I'm very honored. It's a great burden being a Guerrero, but it's also a blessing. And I'm thankful for it all the time.
Just while I have you, I mean, Shaul, like, after you were 15, I believe, when your father passed, right? Yeah. You were old enough to remember like the way that his legacy got used in the stories right afterwards. I mean, there's been a lot said about the way Vince talked about your father, or had wrestlers talk about your father on TV. Did it bother you at all when you watched what had to happen there in the following months after his passing on television, or no?
I'm going to be very honest. I think I was so shut out and so numb after my dad passed. I wasn't watching WWE. It's still painful to watch for multiple reasons. It's not the show I watch on the regular, if you will. And honestly, I feel like I was just trying to handle being the girl whose famous dad died at school. I was just trying to handle my own shit, to be honest. But like, I mean, I think we have to be really careful with how we use people's names and their likeness, especially after they're gone. But dad was, I mean, his real name was used. Eddie Guerrero is his legit name, and WWE still to this day owns the rights to his name. So we don't have any say in anything.
Really? Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so make sure if you're a young wrestler and you're going to sign a contract, make sure you own the rights to your name. That's just some good advice. Any lawyer will tell you that. Like, make sure you own the rights to a character you come up with or to your own likeness.
Were you surprised your mom was as good of a heel character as she turned out to be, or no?
I mean, like, I am a little bit, but I'm so proud. I mean, we didn't know she had that in her. Nope. My mom was a dancer and she was a performer. And so I knew that, but like, I mean, who could have, I don't think she even saw like where she was going to take this character. And when I'm so proud of her, I beam nothing but pride for my mom. And I really, really hope I get to work with her one day, the closest I've gotten to is getting to announcer on AEW. And I like marked out so bad. Justin Roberts gave me so much shit in the back. He was like, well, if I haven't seen a biased announcer before, now I have. But I really hope I get to work with her because she's so incredibly talented.
She wasn't like, you know, at like birthday parties, everybody's getting crazy and stuff. She's like, excuse me. She didn't like.
Dear God, no. I think like when you come from a wrestling family, we're like, no gimmicks at the table. No gimmicks at the table. So.
That's funny. All right. Well, Shaul, I'm very excited to see you back in the ring here. Deonna Purrazzo, GSW, February 20th. Take us home here, Shaul. Where can people go find this show, follow you, support you, all those great things?
Definitely check out GSW Pro on Instagram, and make sure you follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Shaul Guerrero, super easy. Or if you guys like Twitter, Guerrero_Shaul, or catch me on Twitch at Shaul Guerrero, because I'm always talking about wrestling and what I'm doing. And if that's not your thing, you can watch me play Zelda Breath of the Wild for a couple hours. So we'll all have a good time.